Hello, this is Pris, and I have a word for you that I got on the 13th called Respite. So I'm going to start with that. And I just wanted to say a little something about Upstream um, as far as I've never really asked for money. I've never really pushed for that. I always trust that God's going to bring whoever He wants to support me. Um, But we do help drill wells in India, as in North India, because I have an association with a pastor there who takes care of orphans and who reaches out in different communities. He helped them a lot during COVID, providing food, and also he's digging wells. Okay, and the wells are so important because a lot of people get sick in India because of poor water access, or the water's not clean enough. The deeper you go, the water gets cleaner. And there, when I was there were a lot of people that were sick with things like hepatitis and TB and those kind of things that come from um, poor water um, access. And so I just thought that I should let people know that, yeah, this is something that we help him with and that we want to support, because it's very often that when he establishes a well that's a deep well and it's an electric controlled one, it's not just one that you have to pump the water out of, but that it's electric and it goes deeper so that the water is cleaner and more pure. And when he does this in communities, what happens is that people attribute that to our God. And it means open doors for being able to speak to them about God. So there's such good work going on that he does. And he also is helping people with skills like sewing, which is a big deal for women who are alone or have lost their husband. They need some way to support themselves, because normally in their culture, the man is the one who provides. And so a woman who's left alone or with children, it's very difficult for them to survive without skills. And when I was there, which is way back in 2001, 2002, um, I had the opportunity to go into a public school in Andhra Pradesh, and there was nothing there. Those kids did not have school books. They did not have papers and pens or Crayolas or coloring books or school books or desks or chairs. They had a picture of their government leader and two gods of theirs on the walls, and that's it. They sat on the floor, and the teacher taught them. Granted, that's not nothing, but it's certainly not anything compared to what we have. So we have been committed from the beginning to help in India, um, in helping children and women, especially. And so if you want to give to that, then you can go to the website and there's a PayPal link. And it is wonderful to see, what God is doing there through the reaching out and the digging of the wells. And it's very hard. Um, that you have to know that there's laws in India that prevent Christians from giving to help with orphans. You can't give to ministries and say it's for orphans, because it's against their laws, believe it or not. So, yeah, terrible But there have been people who have abused children that have been Christians. So, or at least, and some it's false accusation, but some there has been reality of that. So I can understand their stance, of the government taking that, side. But part of it is just to keep out the gospel, of course, from going forth. And I believe that if we're open and honest with people and um, continue to give, God's going to bless it. God's going to bless India. In fact, I think it was Johnny Enlow last week had a word about God exploding in India and China and Indonesia and Philippines, I think he mentioned. But I know this is for the whole world. I mean, God's going to explode in the whole world. He's going to explode in us. He's going to explode all over those nations. And it's funny he mentioned this because the week before I had just been praying about, God, what about all the prayers that people put in for the 1040 window? Because for a while that was a big thing way back when, and people were praying and praying and continued to pray for these nations that are totally not given over to the Lord. So let's keep going and supporting the work there. And I know God's going to bless those of us that have tried to give to the poor, because His word says so. Anyway, let's go to Respite. Okay. I felt the Lord tell me to go to the computer because He wanted to speak to me. And so I went, and the word I got was respite. And so I looked it up, and of course, it means to grant a temporary period of relief, to put off, delay, an interval of rest or relief, or providing or being temporary care and relief of a primary caregiver. So giving somebody else a rest kind of thing. And then the Lord began to speak. He said, many are in need of a respite here because their lives have been disrupted and filled with distress and sorrow. I am your source for all you need. I am your respite. If you will just come and sit at my feet, I will refresh you. Lay down all your cares and stresses at the cross and come away with me, beloveds. Rest in my arms and be with me so I can bring you all you need. I am the good father who gives good gifts to his children, but I am also a disciplinarian who knows what will drive you to my feet if you resist coming. So listen to my heart's cry to have time with you. It is only for your benefit, beloveds. You know the end of history, so don't delay or put time off with me. Resting in my arms is the best place to be. Let me hold you. Let me love on you. It only takes faith, mustard seed faith, not huge faith, but small as a mustard seed. Okay. I could say small as a broccoli seed because they're about the same size. But he used mustard for a particular reason, in that the mustard seed grows tall quickly. Okay. Some of you are surprised by troubled waters surrounding you. He said, but I told you beforehand that it would be coming, which he did, right? If you listen to my prophets, then you know there are challenges ahead that will require my fellowship with you, that you would come to know me more, and I am like a man acquainted with grief. So he knows everything that we've gone through and felt. He said, I lived in your world, and while I was there, I felt what you feel. It was a turbulent time when I was there. As you know, the Roman Empire was ruling and reigning, crucifying and oppressing. Do not be surprised, for you know the end from the beginning, as told in my book. Do not give up hope. I am your hope. I am your Savior and healer, your deliverer and comforter, your counselor and king. I will fight for you and alongside you. I have your back. Some of you have been so let down by the stress of the times, but know that I see everything. I do test the heart of men. My word says so. And then there's some scriptures that I'm going to share with you. Psalm 7:9. Oh, let the evil of the wicked come to an end, but establish the righteous. For the righteous God tries the hearts and minds. Excuse me. And then Isaiah 48:10 says, excuse me, behold, I have refined you, but not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. And for many of us, this is a big reality. Not just about COVID, but, there's been a lot of pressure of being refined for all those that are going to come forth for this end times army. So there's been a lot of testing. Zechariah 13:9. I will bring the third part through the fire, refine them as silver is refined, and test them as gold is tested. They will call on my name, and I will answer them, and I will say, they are my people. Ho, 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 ho. And they will say, the Lord is my God. 1 Corinthians 3:13. Each man's work will become evident, for the day will show it, because it is to be revealed with fire, and the fire itself will test the quality of each man's work. Oh boy, so true. James 1:3 says, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance. That's a good chapter right there. Try to remember, he said, that those that complained in the desert were not allowed into the promised land. They refused to believe in my goodness towards them. That's so important now, and it's really hard when you've gone through a lot in your life, abuse and neglect, or a lot of rejection and stuff, that it's really hard to build trust. And God knows just what it takes to build trust in him. And he may allow a measure of refining and testing, but in the end, he's going to pull through for you. Ho, ho, ho. He did for me. I know he'll do it for anybody if he'll do it for me, because I have been a very stubborn person in my life. Hallelujah, because of what I went through. So the next thing he said was, will you be able to hold on to me when under more persecution, beloveds? Will you be able to love those who persecute you? That's really hard. For if you only love those who love you, how are you better than the Pharisees, I have said? Will you be able to forgive quickly those who trample your feelings? For in other nations, many are suffering much worse torment, torture, and harassment, not just feelings hurt, right? And we've seen that. We've seen that in Iraq and Iran and Syria, China. Some are some of the big torture centers of the world, the Middle East and Eastern nations where Christianity is less prevalent. Endurance will come when you go through trials, and patience will have its perfect work in you, he said. The Chinese saints are enduring far worse and have been for years. They have been tortured and murdered for the faith they have. I know you don't want to be reminded of this after all the world has gone through, but don't worry, I am with you, as I have been with them in the worst of situations. Like the early Christians, there will come time in days ahead when you must endure what they went through, but not till I say. For I alone hold the keys to death and hell, and I have much work yet for you to do, to help me with. But it will not seem like work once I empower you, so hold on, because the whole world is going to be changed. Some things will not change as much, but so much will change because of my army of renown. Because remember, he said that we would do greater works. Those wrapped in fear will not be able to withstand the wickedness. Thus, I have had a plan in mind for a long time, Trust me to counter all that the enemy would try to do to dissuade you, to limit you, and to destroy you. He cannot stop what is coming. Signs and wonders and miracles of every kind will be implemented, and your life will never be the same again. Don't run away from me when I touch you, for I am not the destroyer, I'm the creator. I am the Father who loves you and whose Son laid down his life for you. Will you also lay down yours as he did and allow me to be Lord? And that is the end of that word. God bless you. And this was kind of short, so take care. And I am praying for everybody that I know and everybody who's on my list. So take heart and hold on in faith, because God's stirring up lots of change. God bless you.